our next speakers are David and Amanda Knights, and they will introduce a Polish man of whom not many people have heard, and big hand to them because they only prepared it yesterday. They had time since yesterday when we found out that our original guest wouldn't be able to make it. So over to you, David and Amanda.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thanks.
Okay. Right, David. Phil Portwood was going to talk to us this evening about Charles Dobbs, who was Acton's first mayor of Polish heritage. Unfortunately, his computer is broken, so we have produced a short item on what we've been able to find out about Charles and his life. The story is actually not only about Charles, but about his brother Leon, who, but for a sad turn of events, would have been Acton's first mayor of Polish heritage. Next slide. Charles and Leon were born as Charles and Leon, and excuse my pronunciation, Dobrzanski in the East End of London. Leon in Bethnal Green on the 9th of May 1883 and Charles in Shoreditch on the 12th of March 1886. Their grandfather, Isidor Josef Dobrzanski, a cabinet maker, was born in Poland but came to England around 1851. On the 1861 census, which is here, it states place of birth Poland, and in England 10 years it says in the top corner. Their grandmother Fanny was born in Bethnal Green. Their father Rudolf was born in 1860 in Mile End. Rudolf married Helena Dobrzanska in Bethnal Green in 1882 according to the marriage records. In the 1891 census it shows that Helena was born in Poland and Rudolf was also a cabinet maker. In 1894 the two boys were at Essex Street School, still with the surname of Dobrzanska. Life was not always easy and money and food were often in short supply. I found a couple of occasions when Helena was in a Hackney workhouse. By 1901, the brothers had changed their surname to Dobbs. You can just see on there, Leon Dobbs and Charles Dobbs. And they're living together. Their mother died early in 1901, and the 1901 census for their father and their sisters, their name is still Dobrzanski. David's not good at this. In 1904, both boys joined the Rifle Brigade. Charles lied about his age, and both served in Malta. Leon left after a 3-year service and went to Canada, where he worked as an engineer for the Canadian Pacific Railway. Charles remained in the Rifle Brigade until 1911. On leaving the army, Charles became a bus driver at Turnham Green. As reservists, the brothers were called up to serve in World War I. Leon was on his way home from Canada when war was declared. He was severely wounded in the First Battle of the Somme and was declared unfit in 1917 and came to Acton, where Charles was already living at 3 Church Path with his wife Elizabeth, whom he had married in 1912, and their children. Charles too was seriously injured in the war, and both brothers received the Clasp and Roses to go with the 1914 Mons Star Medal. The clasp, together with 2 small silver roses, was awarded to those who had served under fire or who had operated within range of enemy mobile artillery in France or Belgium during the period between the 5th of August and the 22nd of November 1914. After serving in the war, Leon worked for Napier's as an overseer and then for Fairey Aviation in Hayes, before becoming an employee of his brother Charles, who had founded Acton Town Garage in Gunnersbury Lane. For those of you who live in Acton, it's where Halford's Garage is now, on Gunnersbury Lane. He married Alice Manning on the 25th of January 1919 at All Saints Church, South Acton. Charles, after the war, continued as a bus driver, but owing to his war wound, had to retire. He then became a taxi driver. By 1922, he was a part owner of a pirate coach company, the Skylark Motor Coach Company, which was very successful. This was bought out by Green Line in 1933 when legislation changed regarding coach licences. Charles invested the money in a fleet of London taxis, which he operated from Acton Town Garage. The new business prospered and Charles ran this until 1945 when he retired and moved to Dorset. Leon was first elected to Acton Council in 1932 and again in 1935 and 38. Charles was first elected to the council in 1937. In 1939, Leon was selected as mayor of Acton. He was notable for being, and I quote the Acton Gazette, the first working man to hold the office of mayor of this borough. But before he could take up the role, he was sadly killed in a fatal accident outside of Acton Town Garage. He was working for Charles, and on the night of the accident, reversed a taxi out of the garage in order to refuel it. The taxi was hit by a lorry that was coming along Gunnersbury Lane. Leon was trapped under the rear wheels of the lorry and died instantly. His funeral service was at St Albans Church, Acton Green, followed by cremation at Mortlake. From the report in the Acton Gazette, it was quite a grand affair. Charles was elected as mayor in 1940 and served until 1942. He wasn't a very political man, but served his community well during the early war years. He was mayor during the Blitz and was chairman of the ARP Emergency Committee. It's reported that when Commander Evans, who was Assistant Commissioner for London Air Raid Precautions, visited Acton, he asked the mayor for the name of the man who was not afraid of losing his life if necessary. He was expecting the answer, Commander Evans, who was noted for his bravery, but the mayor replied, Dobbs. They sat on the edge of the long trenches dug across Acton Park and joked with the people sitting below them in comparative safety. He received a special commendation for bravery for this act. His wife died on the 10th of January 1963 in Dorset, and he emigrated to southern Rhodesia, as it was then, to live with his daughter and then moved to South Africa. In 1968, he returned to England and went to live in Hampton. He died on the 30th of March, 1969. Thank you. Here, we finished.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it was
Thank you.
extremely interesting, I
Comment,
must say.
yeah, comment from Jurek. It is a shame that immigrants felt that they had to anglicise their names to be able to get on. That says a lot about the host society.
It does.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So things are changing. Thank
That's
you
right.
so much. Thank you. We appreciate